Welcome to my session on marketing. In today's session, we'll be seeing about services marketing. In simple words, services are deeds, processes, and performances. But the increasing interest in service sector has been accompanied by considerable disagreement and debate as to what constitutes a service. Whether service marketing is a distinctive subject area. In order to develop a clarity on service as a concept, it is desirable to look at the various ways wherein the researchers and scholars have defined it over the years. One of the first to define services was the American Marketing Association in the early 1960s as services are activities, benefits which are offered for sale are provided in connection with the sale of a goods. So in this definition we can see services was mostly given along with the sale of a good, but the recent years has seen a change in the service being offered. According to Kotler, the definition of service is an act of performance that one party can offer to another that is essentially intangible and does not result in the ownership of anything. Its production may or may not be tied to a physical product. Hence, we can understand from this definition that it is an activity that is performed by the service provider to the service receiver, and there is no transfer of ownership, and it may or may not be tied to a physical product. Having seen about the services marketing, now let's look upon to the unique characteristics that make services different from products. Some of the most commonly accepted characteristics are as follows: intangibility, inseparability, variability or heterogeneity, and perishability. Intangibility. Most basic and universally cited characteristics of service is intangibility because services are performances or actions rather than objects. They cannot be seen, felt, tasted, or touched in the same manner that we can sense tangible goods. For instance, when we buy a bar soap, we can see, we can feel the smell, and we can even use to check by cleansing ourselves. But when we pay fees for semester in the university, we are paying for the benefits of deriving knowledge, skill, and education which is delivered to us by teachers. Now, the second aspect is the inseparability. Services cannot be separated from the person and or the firm which is providing it. A service is provided by the person who possesses a particular skill. It may be either a doctor, singer, etc. by using a special equipment or device, handling it along with the services, that is with a tangible product. Services are typically proved and consumed at the same time. It may include the tanning salon, which is available in the nearby places to get your service, or a beautician who is performing a similar service to you, etc. The third aspect is the heterogeneity or the variability. Since services are performances frequently produced by human beings, no two services will precisely be alike. Human element is very much involved in rendering the service, and this makes standardization very difficult task to achieve. For example, a doctor who gives us complete attention in the first visit may behave little differently in the next visit, or the waiter service where you go to the same hotel again and again, he treating you in the first instance may be slightly different when you visit them the next time. The fourth important characteristic is the perishability aspect, which refers to the fact that services cannot be saved, stored, or resold. Since services are deeds or performances, as I told in the beginning, these acts are the one where production and consumption takes place simultaneously, and if it is not being taken, they tend to perish in the absence of consumption. For example, a seat in a concert or a restaurant or an hour of a professor's lecture, if it is not used, cannot be reclaimed or used or resold at a later time. Having seen the characteristics of services, now let us quickly see the classification of services. There are seven basic types of services. Let's see one by one. The first one is the basis of degree of involvement to the customer, degree of relationship between service organization and the customer, the degree to which how the service is delivered on the basis of service tangibility, wherein we'll be discussing about the tangibility spectrum, and we'll be discussing about how far there is labor intensiveness about the services that is being offered. And then the next one would be business orientation of service provider, and then the last being the degree of regulation. The first one depends upon the degree of customer involvement. Now, when looking upon this, we have the Nature of Service Act, whether the service is being a tangible one or intangible one, whether the service is directed at people or whether the service is directed at possession. For example, let's take the services directed at people, which is a tangible action. So, services at people bodies, for example, healthcare, salons, restaurants, transportation would be the type of service which comes under tangible action, wherein you can see what's being performed on you. Similarly, when we say the intangible aspect as well as the service is directed at people, the intangible one would be directed at the people mind. For example, education, wherein the focus is here is on providing knowledge and skill based training on the aimed at the customer's mindset. Okay, and then broadcasting, entertainment services, informational services, etc., would fall on the intangible action. Now, looking into the services directed at possession, this may be the products or the things which the people own. So, the tangible action performed on people's possession would include things like getting your vehicle repaired, transportation, laundry, dry cleaning, lawn care, etc. Whereas in case of intangible action, it may be related to the assets that one individual possesses. Related things would include banking, legal services, insurance, and accounting. Now let's look into the second classification, which is based on the relationship between service organization and customers. So here we are taking into the nature of delivery of the service, whether the service is delivered continuously to the customers or is it discrete. For example, certain services are there which requires continuous membership of the customers, and there are services where you don't require a membership and still you can enjoy the service. Taking this into consideration, let's look upon the various quadrants. Now, the first one is where the customer goes in for getting a membership and he or she enjoys the continuous service, which includes insurance, education, enrollment in a college, banking, etc., wherein the customer has a continuous membership to enjoy the service. Whereas when you talk about membership, but still the service is not continuous in the sense like it's discrete, wherein we will be using the service only for a limited time period, which includes the theater seat subscription, traveling, all that comes under discrete. And then talking about non membership but still continuous is the police protection, public highway, TV transmission, where we'll be listening to certain channels only for a stipulated time, but maybe we'll also continuously listen to certain FM channels, but we don't require a membership for that. Similarly, the last one is the discrete one, where we don't require membership, would include mail service, restaurants, car rental, and so on. The third classification is how the service is delivered. We have here the various delivery modes, wherein the availability of outlets for the service firm may be available in a single site or multiple site, and the interaction between the customer and organization goes on three different phases, where the customer goes to the service organization, the first aspect, The second one would be the service organization coming to the customer. The third one is the customer and the organization transact at arm's length, sorry. Now, when you take the first one, that is single site, where the customer goes to the service organization, would include the theater or the parlor service. And service organization coming to the customer at a single site, maybe the lawn care, where a person comes to your home to take care of your lawn care or your pest control for your house. So that is available in a single site, your house. Okay, and then comes the customer and organization transact at arm's length, maybe the local TV station. Okay, and then with regard to the multiple site, where the customer goes to the organization, is your fast food outlets. And then in case of service organization, going to the consumer is the mail delivery, courier services. And then customer and organization transacting at arm's length and multiple site is the broadcasting network, which may include your BCI. The next important classification is actually the tangibility spectrum, ranging from tangible dominant to intangible dominant, where tangible dominant is more of pure product, whereas intangible dominant is more of pure service being offered. So based on this spectrum, you can see the products like salt, detergents, cosmetics are more into product, wherein these are tangible and easy to assess the quality aspect. Whereas if you see over the extreme right, the product is now being taken as a substitute for the service. Like, say for example, fast food outlets, you have the food which is a product, and the service given by the waiter is coming under service industry, right? So as you move through the spectrum, you could see consulting teaching, which is pure service based and does not have majority of the product in it. But many organizations are trying hard to intangibilize, means tangibilize the intangible dominant. They're trying hard to provide something tangible so that customers would not feel dissatisfied. The next is the degree of labor intensiveness. So, how far do we require the labor for providing the service? So, there are two different aspects. One is the equipment based services, and the other one is the people based services. Under equipment based services, we have three types, wherein the services uses the equipment, which is an automated machines like your ATM and vending machines, which doesn't require people to be there to offer the service. And then you have equipment based service operated by unskilled persons, like your lift operators, dry cleaning services, which doesn't require a special skill. Wherein in case of certain services which require skilled professionals to deliver the service, like excavating diagnostic services, where these people are expected to be trained in those areas to do or perform the service. The next type is being the people based. Under people based, we have three types: unskilled, skilled, and professionals. So, unskilled is again people providing service to your possession, that is taking care of your lawn. And then skilled professionals, appliances repair or your vehicle maintenance. The last one is the professionals who are offering services, which includes professional people like dentists and entertainers. The next is the contact between the customer or the consumer and the service provider. Physical presence of the provider, as well as need to manage the desired quality of personnel in case of high contact service. Now, this becomes mandatory when certain services are provided, requires a physical touch, means high contact between the service provider and the receiver is expected. And the time that they spend with a service receiver, the quality, all that is a matter. Right, now when you take this, there are two important categories, as I said before: low contact service and high contact service. So services which requires low contact would be things like your telecommunication and dry cleaning, wherein the physical presence of the self is not required. Whereas in case of high contact service, the service provider and the receiver has to be there in the place where the service is being offered. Like, say for example, your educational services and hospitality, to enjoy the delicacies that is being served in the hotels and so on. And then comes the business orientation of service provider. Here it is actually the services which are aimed on the public or in general to other organizations. Like when you take public services, it includes the utilities and infrastructure services like transport, communication, and for the public welfare like hospitals, education institution, etc. Whereas when you take the private services which are offered by private institutions, which will include restaurants, beauty care, medical advice, and so on. Now, the last type of offerings would be for the profit and non-profit organization. Profit, as you all know, it would be the hospitality sector, and non-profit would be like certain educational foundations for the underprivileged people, or for the children, or for the weaker section. Taking care of the upliftment of those people would come under non-profit services. Now, the last is the degree of regulation. So, under regulation, we have highly regulated, limited regulated services, and non regulated services. So, highly regulated would be the banking sector and insurance, hospital, and so on, where all the data are kept and it has to be maintained by the service provider efficiently to manage it properly and to deliver better quality of service. And limited regulation would be for catering and fast food, and no regulation, you don't require a particular regulation as in the case of a lawn care or a painting work for your house. So having seen the various classification, this session on services marketing is coming to an end. Let me see you in my next session. Thank you.